Good afternoon, everybody. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. It's Sunday. I think it's May 18th or May 19th. I'll get it right? Um, I'd like to switch up the subject matter a little bit. I have a book by Cathy O'Brien. Some of you may know Cathy as she was an MK Ultra generational trauma abuse victim who went on to uncover her traumas along with her husband, Mark. And she ended up writing several books. I actually met Cathy through eBay. I really did not know who she was at the time. I heard about one of the books that she wrote, so I purchased it on eBay. And then she sent me, a really long email or message through eBay, and then I realized it was her, that she was the author of the book, and she said, please spread the word and everything. And then when I moved to Kentucky, I purchased I think it was her third book, called Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, PTSD, Time to Heal, by Cathy O'Brien. I'm going to show you here. Let me just show you here, guys. Time to Heal by Cathy O'Brien. And she actually signed the book for me. She signed it on the inside here. So I have a signed copy here. This book is PTSD, Time to Heal by Cathy O'Brien, copyright 2016. So I'm going to read the introduction and one of the first chapters on PTSD, on what to do and stuff. And it was actually one of her suggestions, and that's later on in the book, is to wear a watch. I stopped wearing a watch, I think, when I purchased my first cell phone. I had a BlackBerry first and then an iPhone. And I figured, why do I need to wear a watch, which is so cumbersome? I've got to clean it, I've got to put it on and take it off. And so I stopped wearing a watch when I started to use a BlackBerry, which of course has the time in all of these smartphones. However, as a targeted person, it's even more important to wear a watch because they will disrupt. I've experienced it here in Kentucky where they change the time on the physical clocks, like a clock with a battery. They've done this repeatedly in the nonprofit cat rescue building. They actually broke the hands on my vintage wall clock that I brought from New Jersey that I've had for decades. They broke the handles here inside of my house. And they have broken actually 2 of my watches so far. This is actually the 3rd watch that I'm using, because they've broken them literally within a month of my having them. So anyway, she wants you to be aware of your time, because they do put you to sleep and you will lose time. And she wants you to be aware of how long you have been gone, put to sleep, or whatever. So, PTSD, Time to Heal by Cathy O'Brien, 2016. This is the 2nd edition. It's privately published in the United States of America by Reality Marketing Incorporated. Her websites are www.trans-formation.com, forreasonsofnationalsecurity.com, ptsdtimetoheal.com. The cover design graphics were by Mark Phillips. The dedication is to Mark Phillips for relentlessly shining his light of truth, integrity, and strength of spirit in a world divided by secrecy, compartmentalized knowledge, and censorship. Thank you, Mark, for handing me the keys to unlock my compartmentalized memory, free my mind, and ultimately express my strength of spirit in light of truth and life's purpose. You have empowered me to peacefully live the love I am free of my traumatic past, share this inherent truth with others, and realize conscious awareness is key to inner peace, world peace, and absolute freedom. And the way she spells it is absolute is A-B, and then capital letters SOUL, your soul, loot, freedom. So it is within you to heal. You have within you the ability to heal from any level of trauma, abuse, post-traumatic stress disorder, torture, and or mind control. It is your birthright to consciously realize your own truth and know where you've been in order to know where you are going. It is about time, and she bold prints about time, for you to reclaim control over your own mind and life and stop your past from intruding on your present. Whether you experience intrusive memory, repressed memory, night terrors, or subconscious undermining of your goals and intentions, today is the day to gain peace of mind, and ultimately the freedom to live true to soul on purpose. I know absolutely healing is possible based on personal experience after 3 decades of robotic MK Ultra mind control. Born into a multi-generational sexual abuse, I became targeted, conditioned, and programmed for, quote, top secret U.S. government, White House, Pentagon level covert operations. I've written these memories out in detail in previous books. And these are her previous books. The first book is Trans, in bold caps, Transformation of America, was written in 1995 from compiled testimony for the U.S. Congressional Permanent Select Committees on Intelligence Oversight. It was released en masse when the 1947 National Security Act was invoked on our case. Trans is now in law libraries worldwide and is being taught in major universities and is published in numerous languages. This graphic information details my experiences in MK Ultra mind control and was never intended for the public, particularly other victims whose memory can easily become contaminated due to their high suggestibility. She points you to www.trans-formation.com. The second book is Access Denied for Reasons of National Security. Was written for the public to raise awareness on mind control and healing from it. It details how government insider Mark Phillips rescued my daughter Kelly and me from our tortured mind control existence. Mark had eyes to see, ears to hear, and a soul to know top secret information on mind control that needed to be brought to light for the sake of humanity's free thought. Knowledge is our best defense against mind control, and mass awareness is key to positive, necessary change. She directs you to another website for reasonsofnationalsecurity.com. Access Denied is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and power of love. It details healing methods Mark taught me that he had learned during his tenure in mind sciences. Healing from trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder had been deliberately suppressed from mental health worldwide, since it is an antidote to the military's ultimate weapon of mass destruction, which is mind control. Mind control is being used by the U.S. military. Now, military veterans are returning home from service suffering from PTSD, and they are in need of healing information that is as slow to emerge as was their diagnosis. For over 25 years, Mark and I have been raising awareness on the effects of trauma on the human mind and ultimately healing from it. When we first began speaking out, mind control and PTSD were unheard of in the general public domain. Now it has increasingly become common knowledge due to the vast numbers of our military veterans suffering from PTSD. The Veterans Administration has finally, 25 years later, acknowledged the reality of this emotionally debilitating affliction. Now, mind you, this book was written in 2016. It's been a long, hard journey for us as U.S. government whistleblowers, and a much more difficult one for the numerous veterans seeking to reclaim control over their minds and lives. With our veterans suiciding at a rate of 22 per day, As of this writing, we cannot wait another 25 years for release of this otherwise classified healing information. Since the release of Access Denied, we continuously hear from people all over the world who report healing from various levels of trauma by applying to themselves the methods Mark taught me that weave throughout our book. This book you are reading now is yours. It is written in a concise manner to empower you to know your own truth without having to wade through mine. Within these pages are healing methods you can apply to yourself just as I did. I am living proof that these otherwise secret intelligence methods of deprogramming do indeed work. It will occasionally be necessary for me to refer directly to my experience to illustrate a point, and in keeping with the fine line of laws that Mark and I walk as U.S. government whistleblowers. Still, this book is yours. There is no level of PTSD that is insignificant. Whether you suffer from PTSD, torture, trauma, religious manipulation, social engineering, or the kinds of robotic mind control I endured, it is within you to heal yourself. It is within you to know your own truth. This indeed is truth that makes us free. Time to heal. A concept of time equates to a concept of awareness or consciousness. I know from experience that trauma results in disassociation, which is professionally defined as, quote, the mind's sane defense to trauma that is too horrible to comprehend, unquote. The neuron pathways of the brain actually shut down to repress or isolate the trauma so the rest of the mind can function normally. This repressed memory is shoved deep into the subconscious, and it is often consciously perceived as, quote unquote, missing time. Now I'm going to comment here. It has widely been reported that children, or even women or men, who are sexually abused repeatedly will disassociate from their physical body. And they have reported hovering over their body, almost like an angel, watching from a distance, disassociating from their physical body because they cannot cope with what was being done to them. So they will disassociate and hover over the body, and then after it's finished, they return to their physical body. And this is what trauma-based mind control, satanic ritual abuse does. It is a defense mechanism. These are my words. This is a defense mechanism for people who are being tortured. Don't let any loser tell you that you are schizophrenic. First of all, you don't suddenly become schizophrenic in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s. That is totally laughable. It's basically a projection of what they're doing. They know what they're doing to you. They are causing dissociation. But instead of calling the kettle black what it is, they're saying, oh, you must be schizophrenic. Oh, look, like the criminal at 54 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, Steve, as he was moving out, and I'm talking hands-free on my phone, and he says to his loser brother-in-law, oh, well, look at her. She's talking to herself. Yeah, I had my phone on the floor talking to my mother. I said, you stupid idiot, I'm talking to my mother on the phone. He shut his mouth so fast. He didn't want any evidence out there. What a little loser boy he was. Steve. Yeah, that's okay, I'm going to say your name. Isn't that what Beyonce said? Say my name, say my name. I'm going to say your name, Steve, you little wiener boy. Stalking me, you little pervert. How did your wife take it with you watching a single female living alone all the time? Huh? Is that why she gave me dirty looks all the time? Anyway, so when repeated trauma occurs, more and more neuron pathways shut down, sectioning off memory with less and less capacity for conscious thought. Disassociation is immobilizing and can appear as daydreaming due to the sleep-like state of conscious mind. This in turn leaves a traumatized person highly suggestible to subconscious manipulation and thus easily led. So now you have to wonder about children in a classroom that are daydreaming. Well, maybe they're just totally bored because they're not learning anything. But it could be because they've experienced some trauma. The reality of this brain reaction is known by those in positions of control who capitalize on this lack of awareness. This is why we need to learn, everybody needs to learn about the body's natural ability to disassociate from trauma. It is a protection, it is a defense mechanism. It's not a mental illness. When 9/11 occurred in the US, the whole nation was traumatized and thus easily and deliberately led into war. 911 is a powerful example of mind control's sliding scale, which extends from social engineering of a whole population to the kind of robotic mind control I endured. A bombardment of military ads on TV in conjunction with the constant images of 911's terror and declarations of war by U.S. leaders, quote unquote, resulted in unprecedented military recruitment. Basic military training includes physical exhaustion, often compounded by sleep, food, and water deprivation, in conjunction with NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which is the language of the subconscious. The subconscious mind has no ability to question reason, or consciously comprehend, and can be programmed to override a basic instinct. Now, I'm just going to say that the controllers out there that do this to a person, they need to be imprisoned for crimes against humanity. Considering that unaliving is contrary to innate human morality, the conscious mechanism of compassion must be overwritten in order for a soldier to point and shoot without hesitation. Video games incorporating virtual reality are common methods for point and shoot conditioning. This is absolutely true. I'm just going to tell you that when I was performing research on serial murderers and rapists, and yeah, I did this in undergraduate school, when interviewed, almost every one of them viewed video games and or pornography before going out on their spree. Okay? So once on the battlefield, the game, quote unquote, shoots back, which compounds the trauma of war. Conscious realization of this imposed programming is the first step towards uprooting the subconscious driver to, quote, not think and just do, unquote. So what it does is it overrides, or it encourages, the lack of impulse control. Remember, consciousness equates to a concept of time, which is the opposite of dissociation or, quote unquote, missing time. So wear a watch. Here she goes. Wear a watch. Watch your watch. Please appreciate that a cell phone is not a substitute for a wristwatch due to its multiple purposes. Stay aware of time all the time. This will keep you from slipping into the mind-brain rut of disassociation. Our brains are amazing, yet they can be lazy if we are not mindful of driving them. Mind control program or disassociation is like a well-worn rut or groove in the brain. Imagine rivers of thought so entrenched that thinking free of that pathway is akin to pushing the river in a new direction. It requires mental deliberateness and conscious determination. The most effective way to reach that mental deliberateness and conscious determination is to reestablish free thought. Reopen the neuron pathways that have closed due to the brain's response to trauma that's too horrible to comprehend. Remember, hypnotists are only as good as their education and integrity. I'm a certified clinical hypnotist, by the way. You do not need someone outside yourself leading you within. This can be done through writing out a memory. The very act of moving a pen uses the logic function of the brain, whereby shifting your, quote, emotionally incomprehensible, unquote, trauma over to logic, where it can be consciously dealt with. You already survived it once, and remembering it and writing it out will only free you from it. Time to go get a pen and paper. Be sure to strap on a watch while you're at it, and if you're not already wearing one, you are now well on your path to healing. So now I'm going to say that Helena Chorba, may she rest in peace, she kept multiple written diaries, notebooks. And when she was found unalive in front of her front door a couple of years ago, guess what happened? When her daughter went into the house to clean it up, she found a lot of the things that I mentioned that she should look for. But she did not find not one calendar, not one diary, not one notebook. Where do you think they went? Who do you think stole them? I'll leave that question for you guys. So anyway, I will probably read a little bit more of this book. Oh, well, wait, you know what? I've got 2 more pages on another chapter. I'm just going to read this, okay? Righting wrongs. Writing out memory is the key to reclaiming control over your mind and life. How you write out memory is more important than what you write out. What you write out is for you, for your consciousness, and not for others to read. So you do not have to worry with grammar, penmanship, or fluidity of events. Your memory may be disjointed with side notes and varying appearances. But the best of all is, since no one else is going to read it, well, you hope, right? You are safe and free to write it all out. You can even write out secrets and the unspeakable. The pen is mightier than the sword. That is, of course, if you're not being remote neuromonitored, right? All memory should be written out without verbalization. Memory can feel so close that it's as though you've never forgotten it or have already told it to someone. Write it out anyway. Do not verbalize it. Vocalizing memory is counterproductive to healing. When you verbalize your memory, it gives voice to compartmentalized repressed memory without lifting it from its rut or rerouting its current entrenchment. Verbalizing memory can further entrench it and can even re-traumatize you to the process, which is why it's so horrific when victims of abuse have to testify in court. Like, I know that it's a necessary evil, but it just re-traumatizes the victim. So you may be inadvertently voicing your trauma to someone who was part of it, or someone who is in need of remembering it from the inside out, rather than through outside input in order to heal themselves. Additionally, voicing memory could incite criticism or denial that may impair your healing path. As one victim of torturous mind control exclaimed, No one would believe the things that I can't remember. Beliefs do not change reality anyway, whether they are someone else's or your own. So put beliefs aside and write out your truth for yourself. After you've remembered everything, you can then safely make the choice whether or not to share your experience and with whom. So that's page 15. And I'm going to end on that note. I hope everybody's doing well on this Sunday. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. And thank you. Thank you everybody for subscribing, all you newcomers. Thank you for sharing the videos that I've posted. I appreciate it. It helps get the message out there. We need to wake up the population. And I know it's really difficult for so many people out there. There are a lot of people losing their homes. The rents are increasing. Insurance is through the roof. And of course, insurance companies are the biggest scam. Have you ever received a payout from an insurance company? I mean, they keep increasing the deductibles, and you submit claims, and if you submit too many claims, even if you're never paid out, they'll just cancel your policy. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Please remember, hit the thumbs up, share if you feel inclined to do so. I appreciate every one of you, and I hope you have a great rest of Sunday.